So the last question we had today, and this actually is not a question that came in. This is actually a question that I have, because I've been learning more and more about blood work. I've had the luxury of working alongside you and you explaining things to me and helping me expand my knowledge, is kidney values and understanding on blood work, all the different kidney markers and understanding the cause and effect and how to determine if we actually have, an issue and understanding what we need to do about it. Because, there's creatinine, there's GFR, there's the creatinine albumin ratio, there's all these different markers, right, in the urine. So I just want to touch upon, kidney health and help educate people out there on how they can understand all these different markers and just sort of manage their own health and, just take care of themselves better. Because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there and people just don't understand, right? They get their blood work back and they're like, oh yeah, they just look at the creatinine and they're like, yeah, my creatinine is good, so I guess I'm good to go. Meanwhile, in their urine, they might be peeing protein or, So I know you have a lot of experience with kidney
personal
health.
Experience.
Personal experience.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get, a little bit of education from you to help people.
Yeah, so you folks may not know, but I had a recent kidney transplant. I did the whole dialysis thing. I did 7 years of perfect diet to keep myself from having to be on dialysis. So I understand the kidneys pretty well. And one of the first things people should watch for when they're worried about kidney health, or at least, they may need to see a doctor soon, is when they're taking a pee, how much foam is in the toilet. And that's a very important one because that is a measure or an indication of how much protein is in your urine, which is that albumin thing that you were talking about.
So if there's foam in your pee, it is a pretty good chance that that's protein in your urine.
If there's foam in your pee consistently, it's highly likely that it's protein in your urine. That's what makes the foam.
Wow.
And if you and basically if you have your blood work done and you show any albumin in your urine or protein,
right,
then you have some breach of your kidney health.
Wow.
So it's very important first right off the bat is to understand that, because so many people get fixated on their creatinine levels and their GFR, and really it's such a broad range of GFR that's considered normal that you don't know whether you're actually you could have had a GFR say of 100 and like 3 years ago, and now it could be 62.
And it's saying it's still healthy.
It's still healthy. You'd still consider yourself having a normal functioning GFR.
But it just dropped 40 points almost.
That's right, and you may not know that, and most people don't.
Yeah.
So we do lose 1% of our kidney function per year as a healthy person. But if we have any sort of signs of kidney disease, then we can lose 10, 20, 100% of that kidney function in a year.
Right.
So it's really, really important to use a few prophylactic measures when you do that. And that's exactly why we created Kidney HD, was so that people had kind of a, like I said, a prophylactic to keep themselves healthy while they're eating, consuming large meals, large amounts of protein.
Yeah.
Because really, at the end of the day, your kidney's kind of like a shit filter for your for water soluble nutrients.
Yes.
So in a bodybuilding diet, we're eating up to like 6-7 meals a day, and although there's very little information saying that high protein diets will cause kidney disease, if you do have some malfunction in your kidneys, then the protein can be a problem.
Right.
So over time, eating these multiple meals throughout the day without a break, your kidneys are doing a lot of work. They're getting rid of electrolytes, they're getting rid of calcium, potassium, phosphorus, all that stuff's coming out through the kidneys. So the more you eat, the more they have to work. So it's really important to use something, prophylactically to actually maintain that kidney health.
And in terms of like making sure the kidneys are healthy from a diet perspective, we understand, especially in bodybuilding, the fitness industry, people are eating large amounts of food. How important is it that people are making sure, and I know that a lot of people out there do not pay attention to this, and I feel like it's something they need to start paying attention to, but making sure there's an adequate amount of fiber in their diet. Is fiber important for kidney health?
Fiber is important for all health, liver health, kidney health, you name it. Because at the end of the day, fiber, especially if you're taking in fermentable fibers or a mixture of soluble and insoluble and fermentable fibers, you're going to improve your gut health. By improving your gut health, then you decrease inflammation, which then takes the strain off the kidneys.
Right. Okay, okay, that's great. It's really interesting. Yeah, something that. And what would you say is a healthy amount of fiber for someone to eat? Say for every 1,000 calories, or if someone's eating a 2,000 calorie diet, how many grams of fiber should they be aiming for? That's a healthy amount for, say, a 2,000 calorie diet.
I'd say for any human being that's an adult, 38 grams minimum per day.
38 grams. Okay. That's really interesting. I think that's something you guys should start paying more attention to, making sure you're getting an adequate amount of fiber, because a lot of people just, they make sure they're eating their protein, their carbohydrates. A lot of time the carbohydrates we're eating don't have a lot of fiber in them. It's white rice, things that don't include fiber. So I think this is something that's really important for people to make sure they're including for multiple reasons and multiple, it affects your health in multiple ways. And
yeah, I mean, and the good thing about fiber also is it helps keep the blood lipids in check, which then also increases cardiovascular health. And one of the main reasons, and likely the reason why my kidneys blew out, is hypertension. So people who have high blood pressure, one of the main reasons for kidney failure is hypertension.
okay.
So a lot of times you'll see people with high protein in their urine, a normal GFR, and I'll instantly ask that athlete, measure your blood pressure, and sure enough, your blood pressure is 150, 160 over 90 or 100, and we've got a hypertensive situation. As soon as we treat that and bring it back down, we start to see the protein in the urine go down, and
So when someone's blood pressure is out of the normal range, you're putting your kidneys at big risk.
Absolutely. People only think of their heart, but actually their kidneys, the kidneys don't like high pressure.
Yes.
They're very, very small capillaries throughout it. Those capillaries are what actually do the filtering in the kidney.
Yeah.
And when those capillaries meet high pressure, they basically become scarred, and you end up with this condition called FSGS that we see in most strength athletes when they have kidney problems.
And if people's kidneys are under stress or they're not in a healthy state, is there risk for heart issues?
Absolutely, because actually, in fact, a lot of people don't know this, but when you have a kidney dysfunction, you really want to take a look at your electrolytes. So when you're looking at your blood work, if you're looking at your potassium and it's creeping up to 5.6, 5.7, 5.8, and you're showing a few other little kidney function issues, maybe slightly low GFR, maybe a little bit of protein in the urine. As soon as we start seeing that stuff happen, we have to be worried, because high potassium will cause cardiac arrest.
Wow. So it's pretty crazy that all these things kind of have like a domino effect, right? Once one thing goes, it puts pressure on something else, and that puts pressure on something else. So it's really important for you guys out there to make sure that you are doing blood work regularly, whether you're just a regular person or you're an athlete or you're a bodybuilder competing a couple times a year, just to have that sort of data, just for you guys to be able to reflect back to it. Like Dr. Dwayne was saying with GFR, right? You might get your blood work back and you might look at your GFR and it comes back as 85 or 80 and you're like, oh great, I'm healthy. But what happens if it was 100 6 months before and it's actually declining? So it's like, I always like to have the blood work, because that way I can reflect back to last year, the year before, and see how it's trending. You know what I mean? If you don't have the data and you have nothing to compare it to, because everyone's different too, right? So I think it's important that you guys, start taking your health in your own hands. Make sure you have the data.
Make sure you do urine analysis so you can see if there's protein in there, because a lot of doctors skip that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's sometimes in fact, I deal with a lot of athletes that have proteinuria, but their GFR looks great, like it's like 96, right? So they're already showing the signs. In fact, some proteinuria is so bad that if you actually look in the charts to figure out where they sit in the spectrum of kidney disease, they're in stage 5. But if you look at their GFR, it's perfectly normal.
So why would the GFR still be perfectly normal? It's just a matter of time before it starts just to negatively affect.
Yeah, you haven't poked enough holes in the capillaries yet to actually cause.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
So the ticking time bomb at
Ticking
that
time
point.
bomb. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Really appreciate you taking the time here, Dwayne.
Thank you.
Hopefully everyone learned a lot today. Till next time.